On the bench in front of me, I've got all of the pieces I need to build a base cabinet for a kitchen. Now, when you're building cabinets, you're typically not just building one, so we want to keep in mind a few things. We're going to be using plywood that's nice and stable, easy to cut. We're going to be hiding the edges of the plywood in the front with some hardwood edge banding. And finally, we're not going to be using any mechanical fasteners in our cabinet. It's all just going to be held together by glue and clamps. Let's get started. So Bob, we're going to be gluing up our base cabinet today, and I think you might have brought some glue with you.
I did. So today we're going to use Type-On 2, as you said, with the cabinets. You got more than one going on. You really want to kind of get them in and out of the clamps. And Type-On 2 has that short set time, easy to work with, right viscosity, so we can get moving on.
Is there a little bit of water resistance?
It does have some water resistance, especially for kitchen cabinets. If you run into a leak or something like that,
Or
you don't want
your cabinet.
right.
Yeah.
You don't want your cabinets falling apart. So this is the perfect glue for kitchen cabinets.
All right. And so we've rehearsed our glue up a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. So we've got we're working with plywood. We've got dados we're putting our bottom into.
Right. And so the reason we did the kind of the dry fit was to look at the seams, see how the joints fit well. And that's going to determine a little bit how much glue that you're going to put into those. If it's a little gappier, if it's a little bit looser, we'll want to put a little more glue in. If they're tighter fitting, obviously less glue. We want to reduce the amount of squeeze out, hopefully, that we get with the cabinet.
Sure.
Okay, we ready to go?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So we want to get a nice bead in there. And then we want to make sure that all of the joints, remember, plywood is always going to be half end grain. So we want to make sure that we get that nice and wetted out with the adhesive so that we get some good bonding on these surfaces. And we want to keep the squeeze out from getting too far on there, and a little bit more in this corner. Again, we want to make sure that the sides of the glue up have enough glue on them.
You know, watching you apply glue is, I guess, kind of like watching Da Vinci paint or something.
I've done a lot of glue. I've done a lot of glue ups. All right. We ready? Okay, we want to get our panel in.
And then we're using our corner clamps.
Quarter clamps to adjust. We want to make sure that that is a good fit on there.
Okay. And really, we just need corner clamps on this. We don't need more clamping pressure.
Clamps. That is correct.
There, good.
I think you want to grab those?
You're the gluing expert.
Yeah, clamps are not always my thinking that twisted around is what the problem is. Okay, that's going to make sure that these sides are at 90 degrees. So we've got that. Okay, we can set that off to the side. Get our other piece in. Do you want to give it a try, or?
I'll give it a try.
All right, great. Get it adjusted.
And so
it's flush.
once it's making contact, that's sort of the end of the open time?
That's the end of the open time. Then we
Okay.
have the total assembly time, which we need to then get the clamps on within the next 5 to 10 more minutes. So for a
So we
total of
got-
about 10 to 15 minutes to get it total. Yeah, when you have help, it tends to go a lot faster.
So speaking of help, can you help me grab this and we'll set it on the
We absolutely
ground?
will. Okay. Got it?
Yep.
And these clamps really do help hold that together
Perfect.
in the right position.
All right.
And
so
what we want to do is we want to take a look, see if we're bowing out any. If you have any movement, the glue will fill enough of the gap to see if maybe we need a clamp in there. Looks like we're good.
yeah, we've got some nice straight plywood. So we'll let this cure up in a clamp for,
Good 30 minutes. Then we can at least take them out of the clamp, set it aside to let it dry overnight and cure up hard, and then we can start working on that. Now the face clamp or the facing, you
Yep.
can start putting that on right away.
awesome.
Okay,
Thanks, Bob.
appreciate it.
So we've let our cabinet cure in the clamps for about 30 minutes.
Time to take off the clamps.
Yep. Set those back there. So now we're gonna hide the edges of our plywood with our hardwood edge banding. You can see we've got our thin strips cut here. There's actually a little bit of burnishing on this side. So we're gonna make sure to have the non-burnished edge going against the plywood carcass. But clamping on edge banding is a little bit tricky, but it looks like you've got some good clamps here for us.
Yeah, Bessie Tools offers a couple of really good options for clamping. One is this KF series that has spring-loaded lobes that grip the workpiece and automatically apply pressure to the worktop once you start forcing down the edging. And then my favorite is the EKT 55, because once you have the first piece in, if you're doing a large, say, dining room table that you're edging, you would be holding your piece in if it's sitting horizontal. Once it's set up, then you're able to work 2 clamps, 1 in each hand. So it's great for production.
So it looks like actually the pressure doesn't engage until those.
Yeah, well, we'll
Pads
just
come in?
demonstrate again. The nice feature of this clamp is that first, as you turn the handle, the arms move in to grab the workpiece, and then once there's pressure, the clamp senses that, and then it starts to feed the central screw forward.
Wow, that's some engineering right there. That's pretty cool. So we'll glue on our 2 edges. We've got to let that glue set for about 30 minutes, and then
Yep.
we'll come back and do the top and bottom, and we'll have a nice looking cabinet.
You betcha. There we go. And another one's done.
Great. So we'll let these set up for about 30 minutes, and then we'll come back and do the top and bottom, and we'll have a nice looking cabinet.
You betcha.
Thanks, Carl.
It's gonna look good, I'm sure.
As I'm gluing the edge strips to the cabinet, I hold the inside edge flush to the cabinet face. Once the glue on the strips is cured, I use a small handsaw to trim any excess length on the strips. Then I use a flush cutting bit and a router to carefully work around the exterior of the cabinet, flushing the strips to the cabinet sides. Depending on the overhang on the strips, you may need to do this in more than one pass. After routing, a little sanding and the edges are perfectly flush and smooth, so you've got a nice solid hardwood edge on your plywood. There we go. Nice solid cabinet. I just finished routing the edges nice and flush. A little bit of sanding and it'll look pretty good. We're gonna build a few more, we'll install our kick, and I'll have a kitchen again.